We will praise you, O Lord, with our whole hearts. We will show forth all your marvelous works, and we'll be glad and rejoice in you. We'll sing praise to your name, O Most High. Blessed be the name of the Lord. We're going to talk about dimension in boxing. I was listening to a lot of different people, and they were talking about Deontay Wilder. Of course, you know that recently a UK fighter who has recently retired, he has said of Deontay Wilder that he thought he's the worst champion, I'm assuming heavyweight champion, in the list of heavyweight champions currently there. And I think he even went as far to use hyperbole of all time. Which is pretty funny. And basically, I do believe the whole point behind it is that, in his opinion, probably Deontay Wilder is one-dimensional. So that's why I want to talk about dimension in boxing and dimensional fighters. When a boxer has more than one dimension to them, it makes for a much tougher fight for the opponent that has to face that boxer, right? So Tyson Fury is not known as a one-punch knockout artist, but Tyson Fury has a lot of dimension to him. A lot of people focus on one particular dimension of Deontay Wilder, which is his power, but they're not really looking at the technique he uses to throw his punches, which results in him knocking down his opponents. Deontay Wilder was able to knock down Tyson Fury twice in his fight against Tyson Fury, whereas Tyson Fury's match with Vladimir Klitschko could not really touch or hurt Fury, and therefore we have to pay attention to Deontay Wilder's performance. See, it's one thing when you're talking about a guy who's wild swinging and he has power. How did Deontay Wilder succeed in catching Tyson Fury with the perfect 1-2 as Tyson Fury is pulling back out of the way of Deontay Wilder? You have to ask yourself that question. And what was it he actually threw on Tyson Fury the first time that allowed him to actually catch him? Now, these are two very important questions which I think a lot of people have ignored. There are certain things that Tyson Fury did that allowed him to have a better chance, sort of rode the punch. But Deontay Wilder, if we do remember, he basically leaped in with a straight right and then followed it up with a left hook. And you can go ahead and watch it in replay. This is him left hooking Tyson Fury as Tyson Fury hits the canvas. Now, the thing about this is, yes, Tyson Fury rode some of the punches so that he didn't quite get the full impact, but he did hit the canvas pretty hard. But the point is that Deontay Wilder realized that he needed to throw the right straight. He was hooking the right and winging the right a lot. And he started straightening up his punches, and he threw a straight right down the center as Tyson Fury was pulling back. It was perfectly timed. And how he made the distance was by leaping in. He basically shuffled and then he leaped in. Okay? It was beautiful to watch, and it was textbook perfect. You couldn't catch your opponent better. So it means that Deontay Wilder, even though his name is Wilder, Deontay Wilder can use technique and does have some sort of dimension to him. And actually, if you look at his punch output per round, it's more of a boxer's punch output. He's looking to counter you. He's looking to lead off of shots. And most of his shots are straight shots. And he really gets wild and crazy only when he's crashing an opponent. Now, why I say all of this, and he's quite explosive and quite quick, is because Deontay Wilder is the lightest of all the heavyweights in the heavyweight division. He's a small heavyweight. He's lean, he's slim, he's small. When I was listening to the Boxing Voice, you know, Spencer Barron, he brought up a point. Deontay Wilder is kind of like his trainer from the Crunk Gym, slim, lean, and streamlined boxer. Wilder can fight on the inside, but he mostly fights from a distance using his jab, which is why Tyson Fury was able to establish distance over Wilder, because he has a longer reach, greater height, be able to stay out of danger a lot much more easier. Wilder had to learn to close the distance. Wilder had to be the one stalking Tyson Fury at times. And then Tyson Fury would turn it around and walk down Wilder. Now, or fight in the center of the ring. What happened, why everybody's talking about Wilder in this derogatory way, is because Tyson Fury basically outclassed Deontay Wilder for a number of rounds in his fight with Deontay Wilder. And while Wilder scraped together a draw, Tyson Fury really made Deontay Wilder look one-dimensional and wild. And you have to understand, Tyson Fury will do that to almost any opponent. Even Spencer Barron noted that. So Wilder's last fight, which was against Tyson Fury, made him look bad, made him look awful, because he was telegraphing the right a lot. And it just exaggerated some of his technique that was not quite there. But my point anyway is that even guys like Deontay Wilder have a lot more dimension than we give them credit for. A lot of people think that Deontay Wilder's right hand is everything in his boxing, but he actually has a decent left hand, a decent jab, very strong shotgun kind of jab, and he mixes the jab up and he does various things with the jab. And he has a very good left hook as well. And so there's a lot of things people are kind of missing out on. And I always say that this guy, he was an Olympic boxer, did well in the Olympics, went on to do well in his professional career, and therefore you cannot underestimate him at all. And I think a lot of people are underestimating him. As much as Tyson Fury talked about Deontay Wilder, being this guy who only depends on his right hand, clearly, even knowing that, Tyson Fury still got hit with that right hand, and it followed up with a perfect left hook, which would have definitely guaranteed Deontay Wilder winning the fight if Tyson Fury hadn't gotten up. Now, why I say all of this is because when you look at Tyson Fury is a much more well-rounded boxer than Deontay Wilder is. He's not a one-punch knockout artist. It's clearly, you can see here, he's tagging Deontay Wilder in the same round. He got flattened. He's clocking Deontay Wilder, and Wilder backs off, realizing you can't just bang with Tyson Fury. And if you look at Deontay Wilder, he's not just out there banging, but Fury will make you miss, and he will also make you pay. So Fury, for the majority of the fight, was making Wilder miss. Wilder looked wild, swinging at air, but that's not the case. If Wilder was, say, for instance, to face Anthony Joshua, you'd see probably a different fight, and it would look like Wilder is this mesmerizing boxer. At first, Joshua may, he had the upper hand, and then later on, Wilder was smacking with the right hand, get Joshua in trouble, and then all hell breaks loose. Now, anyway, I'm saying this is because we've seen other dimension from Deontay Wilder. Here, of course, Tyson Fury hits him with his long jab, Wilder not pulling back enough. All right, but that's Tyson Fury. Because of Tyson Fury's use of his boxing skills, doesn't really matter his dimension, his boxing skills, he's a hard crack. He's going to be very hard not to crack. He'll be difficult to beat. Okay? It's just what it is. Wilder did quite well against him, considering everything. Having said that, Wilder also performed well against guys who had some boxing skill. You have Gerald Washington, who sort of outboxed Wilder earlier on, and then Wilder was able to make adjustments, as well as let Gerald Washington feel his strength. And Washington, of course, is a bigger boxer than Wilder. And Wilder was able to stop Gerald Washington. And then you cannot downplay the fight that Deontay Wilder had with Luis King Kong Ortiz. Southpaw, tricky, Cuban, good boxing skills. As you can see him jabbing Wilder there. Actually beating Wilder to the jab. Getting Wilder in trouble. But even so, Wilder was able to set up the right hand. He hit Ortiz with a counter right. I'll never forget that. As Ortiz was coming in, and that was how he was able to finish the show against Luis Ortiz. So Wilder has some cleverness and some skill in his boxing. And he's kind of long and gangly, so he can easily shoot that right hand like a piston when he needs to. Why I'm saying this is because a lot of people really are underestimating Deontay Wilder's skills, I believe. I think he's a lot more skilled fighter than people are giving him credit for. Clearly, much more skilled fighter than the gentleman who was from England was claiming he was. And he definitely is not the worst heavyweight ever. He's not the worst champion ever either. However, having said that, Tyson Fury made him look stupid, so I think that's why a lot of people are underestimating him. Kind of like how Floyd made Canelo look stupid. That doesn't mean Canelo wasn't an enormously good boxer. And what I would say is that I think Wilder will learn from this experience, come back better, because he's ever learning. And I think also that that's why Tyson Fury wasn't so eager to just have the rematch straight off the bat, because Tyson Fury should have realized that somehow, some way, Wilder was able to get in and hit him in spite of his so-called domination, it seemed, of Wilder. And Wilder was starting to get closer and closer to basically, clocking him. And he began to realize that. So I think that's what happened with Tyson Fury. Now, a lot of people say Tyson Fury came off a 2A layoff, massive weight reduction, was using drugs and stuff to come back and beat Deontay Wilder. But what people do not understand is Tyson Fury, that's what he does. That's the kind of boxing he does. And he put on a great performance against Deontay Wilder. I myself thought Wilder was not going to stop Fury. I thought Fury was going to win. And for the most part, I was kind of correct. Except Wilder did get to land a big shot on Fury. 2 big shots, actually. So it just shows you that as much as Fury may be the best boxer in the heavyweight division, Wilder was able to do things that other heavyweights were not able to do with Fury. And that's saying a lot. So I wanted to talk about dimension in boxing. I think there's some subtle things people don't realize about boxers. I think Canelo wasn't getting his credit until he beat GGG twice. And still, even now, people are still trying to discredit Canelo, even though he's facing Danny Jacobs. So some fighters like Deontay Wilder, Canelo, Danny Garcia, they just don't get credit from the media for reasons unknown to me. And it's just a lot of hate towards these fighters. But you can't be a world champion and just specifically one-dimensional. I doubt that Wilder is one-dimensional. However, I must say, Tyson Fury has a lot more dimensions at his disposal, a lot more tools than Wilder does. I was listening to some people talk about Vladimir Klitschko being a better boxer than Deontay Wilder, the Klitschko that faced Anthony Joshua at least. And to that I would say, I still don't think that Anthony Joshua shows me what is necessary to beat a Deontay Wilder or a Tyson Fury. I think Deontay Wilder will knock out Anthony Joshua because Anthony Joshua keeps his feet planted. He's a plodding fighter. Anthony Joshua is not nimble on his feet like Deontay Wilder is in moving. Tyson Fury cuts angles very well, and he's a tall fighter. Anthony Joshua has not shown me that. Anthony Joshua shows me he puts up the high guard, he comes at you. He has certain blocks that he uses. Those blocks he comes back into defense rather slowly. He tries to defend himself and pick shots out against his opponents, but by and large, I could very easily see Deontay Wilder doing what he does and sort of pivot around Anthony Joshua and catch him with that straight right. I could see it happening because Anthony Joshua's just way too plodding. He's too slow a fighter. He's not really a quick fighter. He uses his power, but he's slow. And so with that kind of fighter, I don't think he'd fare well against a guy like Deontay Wilder, who's quick, athletic, but in addition to that, has enough boxing skills to get his right hand in and really hurt you. And Joshua's been hit with the right hand now a number of times in different fights. So if Joshua gets hit with that right hand, it means Deontay Wilder can hit him with the right hand, which means Deontay Wilder could take him out at any point in the fight. So that's where I personally think that Anthony Joshua, he's got decent all-around boxing skill, but I just don't think if he matches up with Deontay Wilder, that fight will go the distance. I think Wilder will take him out. Does it mean that Joshua's a lesser of a boxer than Wilder? No. But what it would mean is he has some holes in his defense because of just the way how he moves and how he kind of tries to conduct his defense. Now, having said that, the most dimensional fighter in heavyweight, in my opinion, is Tyson Fury. But with Baby Miller being on the horizon, we'll see what happens with Baby Miller versus Anthony Joshua, and that will tell us a lot more about Anthony Joshua, and if we have to mention a new person on the horizon in Baby Miller. So that's my take on dimensions in boxing. I do believe the more dimensions a boxer has, the better their chances of winning, because they have a lot more tools at their disposal, a lot more skills which are refined and honed at the championship level at their disposal. So that's how I think about it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember, you can comment, subscribe, and share, or you can donate to my channel via MoneyGram or Western Union. You guys have a good one.